My name's Trey Trickett. This is my new student dialogue for Clemson University of fall 2012. My student dialogue was based off of mental health on campus. We talked about multiple mental disorders and diseases, I guess you could say, that affect people on campus, like, and people everywhere. Um, in the dialogues, we talked about all types of things. They put us into groups with people that we didn't know and told us to talk about an uncomfortable subject. In our case, it happened to be mental health. Um, there were definitely more active voices in each group, and there was definitely more reserved voices in each group. Um, I personally took a more active role in the groups and the dialogues. I made it a point to myself to make connections with people and try to break the ice, if you will. I I'm not a very shy person, so when it comes to talking about that kind of stuff, it's not too bad for me. I can open up to random people pretty well. So making connections with other people about those types of subjects can be really uncomfortable in some situations, but I try my best to make it not uncomfortable. There were two people in my group that were really reserved, and maybe it was just them being shy, or maybe they were struggling with these types of things themselves. But I tried to make it a point to myself to be as open as I could and try to relate to them, and even if they didn't like interact with me, just make sure they heard what I had to say so that it would help them in the long run. Um, just in case they were struggling with something like that, I tried to relate and make them think that, like, even if they were like struggling with something like that, um, that it wouldn't be too. They're not alone, basically. So, personally, my group talked about depression, and depression actually has played a pretty large role in who I am today because of a bunch of stuff that I went through when I was younger. Um, with my mom being sick and all that kind of stuff, I found myself just like laying in bed and skipping out on everything just so that I could lay in bed and not do anything, and just think. And that wasn't always. I found that that wasn't always the best way to do it. So I made sure that I let people know in my group that I had personally experienced that kind of stuff and found that being alone is not the best way to treat it, or at least not for me. So, um, I think student dialogues are very important. Like I was saying, I think student dialogues are very important for um, people to be able to connect with other students and relate, and to allow people to realize that they're not all different, and that and that certain people deal with things differently. And I think it's important for people to be able to express how they deal with things, so that other people can get a good idea of what might work for them. But I understand why this is a component of Library 100, because there's certain people that aren't very open-minded, and there's a lot of people that aren't very open-minded, especially in the South, like where Clemson's located. And it's a good way to open them up, try to open up their minds, and get people to be more understanding of other people's things. A big a big component of our dialogue was making sure that we know how to address people like this, as opposed to like with people with schizophrenia. Instead of calling them schizos or schizophrenics, you could refer to them as a person with schizophrenia, making them like seem more relatable to everything, and making them feel more human instead of like everybody else, instead of somebody who's completely different than everybody else. And so Library 100, I'm sure there were other controversial topics like sexual orientation and that kind of stuff on campus that I could see being really controversial, especially in a place like Clemson, South Carolina. But I definitely understand why we're doing this, and it makes sense to me. I think that people that did it most likely got a positive gain from it, and I can see how it can help people open up and be more open-minded. Thank you.